From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Tonight, after 9 months of intense negotiations, federal government and ASUU reach a truce, ask universities to reopen immediately. More than 30 persons killed today in separate vehicle accidents in Kaduna, Kwara and Kogi states. Jigawa State records another COVID-19 death as confirmed cases of virus rise across the country. And British Health Minister announces detection of new variant of coronavirus in South Africa returnees. Plus business, sports and later international news from our London studios.
On business news tonight, Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission from strategic alliance with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to increase revenue generation.
And on sports news tonight, Rivers United saved the day for Nigerian clubs after earning a crucial win against South African side Bloemfontein in the CAF Confederation Cup.
For 9 months, the Academic Staff Union of Universities was adamant about its demands as it stuck to its guns, remaining at home. Today, that position changed as the union made some compromise, ordering the lecturers to return to classes tomorrow. The decision to suspend the strike was taken after a meeting held by members at the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Our correspondent, Terry Ikumi, reports.
NEC resolved that the current strike action by the union should be suspended conditionally.
Perhaps the best Christmas gift for students in Nigerian universities whose academic activities had been put on hold for the past 9 months owing to the strike action embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, over government's failure to meet its end of the 2009, 2013, 2017 and 2019 agreements. Since March the 12th this year, when the first conciliatory meeting between ASUU and the federal government was held, there have been several other meetings culminating in an end to the strike action, as ASUU seems satisfied with the new agreements reached on Tuesday, December the 22nd.
The agreements which were reached in good faith between the government and the ASUU on Tuesday, 22nd December 2020, impose some obligations on both sides. What we believe is that if the federal government faithfully implements the resolutions with ASUU, students and student parents and other stakeholders playing their essential roles, further crises will be avoided.
Some of the demands of the striking lecturers are the payment of universities' revitalization funds, payment of earned academic allowances, payment of all withheld salaries of members, and exclusion of its members from the government payroll system called IPPIS. It would seem, however, that the IPPIS UTAS payment tussle has been settled.
We are just at the last stage of integrity test of UTAS, and we are with NIDA presently. As soon as we cross that last hurdle, government has agreed with us that our members will be migrated to UTAS.
Speaking after a meeting with the union earlier on Tuesday, the Minister of Labour and Employment maintained that the government has fulfilled all the demands of ASUU.
A lot of the complaints have been addressed, and today we will conclusively address the leftovers, and we therefore call off their action, the strike action, so that we can prepare for a readjusted school calendar.
While there is no time frame for the implementation of the agreement, ASUU vows to closely monitor the government and says the union will not hesitate to embark on another strike without notice if the government reneges on the agreement. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
And some sad events occurred today in Kogi, Kaduna and Kwara State, leading to the death of no fewer than 30 people. In Kogi, an accident involving two luxury buses, both conveying a total of 55 passengers to different destinations, claimed 15 lives after a collision. The State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ede Ayuba, who attributed the accident to wrongful overtaking and sleeping while driving, says road mishaps could have been avoided if motorists adhered to road regulation and maintain the stipulated speed limit while driving. Similarly, in Kwara State, 6 persons died in an accident when a petrol tanker lost control in Jeba area of Moro local government area of the state. Also, 30 buildings and shops were burnt in the explosion that followed the incident.
Jeba town, prominent for its cotton production, is in the news again. This time, not for its prominence, but for the recurring tanker accidents. The incident did not only leave this 33,000 litres of petrol tanker completely burned, 6 people lost their lives as well, and 28 houses and 40 shops are left in ruins. Some escaped with injuries, but tell the story of how the tanker lost control and subsequently exploded.
By 8 a.m. this morning, when we wake up, we open our shop. Unfortunately, the tanker came with a brake failure. What happened, we don't know. That is how it fell down here. In short, our houses, our shop, all has burned down. Even penny we did not take out of it. As I'm talking to you now, the houses that burn is over 50 houses around this environment. And shop is uncountable too, the same thing, beside the roadside. Nobody penny out of our rooms. Shop, the same thing.
Look at my house. There's nothing more than this, my clothes and my family's this thing. How can I now know? I don't know where I will sleep. Maybe I will go to the max and sleep. I don't know where to sleep. Because I don't have anywhere to go. We don't have anywhere. Unless we clear the mosques there and manage till one day Almighty Allah's help of the Almighty Allah's come.
The Executive Secretary of the State Emergency Management Agency explains how the agency is coming to terms with the tragedy.
In fact, we are here based on the directive given by His Excellency. So by the time we conclude our arrangements, I'm going to get back to him. Whatever we have for those people that are affected, I believe very soon it will surely come to them.
At the palace of traditional ruler of Jeba town, more information on tanker comes to the fore.
So that the thing has been happening, that we need assistance of the government.
This particular incident, going by eyewitness accounts, occurred following the loss of control by the tanker driver. And this calls for more investigation by the Federal Road Safety Commission, as this is not the first time such will be happening, with many lives lost in the past in the same area in Jeba town in Kwara State.
In the meantime, the Federal Road Safety Corps has issued a February 2021 deadline for installation of safety valves in petrol tankers as part of efforts to curb recurring explosions across the country. FRSC Corps Marshal Mr. Boboye Oyeyemi is insisting that personnel will be deployed to various tank farms to ensure the directive.
The deadline for the installation of the safety valves now agreed is 28th of February. So it's a good news for me. So even if the tanker falls, it won't spill. Abroad in developed countries too, it's not that tankers don't fall. They do, but they don't spill, they don't cause damage. And also the deployment of our personnel to the various tank farms. This is usually the result gradually when we have a problem over the years. There's bound to be some problems. And for that to base to a proposal has been submitted through the Secretary to the Governor of the Federation for support to the transporters, and I know this one is receiving attention.
Staying with road accidents, at least 12 persons have been confirmed killed, 25 others injured after a vehicle accident along the Kaduna-Abuja highway. Eyewitnesses say the crash, which involved a trailer, was caused by a combination of speeding, road defects, driving against the direction of traffic, and loss of control. The Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, who visited the scene, said the trailer veered off the road pavement and overturned due to overspeeding. He explains that 12 persons were killed in the crash, while 25 others were injured and are currently receiving treatment in hospital. He also said that several livestock perished in the accident.
Driving against traffic, high speed, and also reckless driving was what necessitated security agencies to approach Kaduna State government to ban driving against traffic on the road. There is no justification to be driving against traffic on the Kaduna-Abuja road. There is no point to be driving recklessly. You can see what happened today. And we are not happy about this situation, and we will continue to sustain the enforcement of driving against traffic along the Kaduna-Abuja road.
Here in Lagos, residents of Opebi area in Ikeja are still in shock following the gruesome murder of 2 persons in their neighborhood earlier today. According to some residents, the first victim, identified as Adamu Bukar, came visiting his brother in Lagos a week ago. Sympathizers and family members mourn the murder of Adamu Bukar, a young Kanuri boy who came to Lagos barely a week ago in search of a better life. The circumstances that led to the death of Bukar and his assailant, whose identity is not known, started with what was described as an unsatisfactory comment by Bukar against his attacker, who had been friend to a family member. The assailant appeared to have come prepared with an extra weapon in his luggage.
Particular that guy, so okay, before I'm coming here, now as you come here, you know, reach 1 week for here, you are storming to coming here. So we don't want anybody smoking. This office is not our own personal house. If you want, go to our own house. But this place is not our own house. So now from there till 12 o'clock, I come to shoot the guy with a knife. So the guy there with a knife already. After which we say carry cutlass to cut it again. After when we bury the corpse, we see the core meeting again. We are going to meet our leaders, discuss with them. So we are here from them. Anything will happen, we are going to do it.
I feel so bad. I'm not happy for that thing. But so far it don't happen, not the way we can say. It don't happen, it don't happen. As it happen like that, we just call their family. One I call him Papa, I call him Mother. And that time he says, as I'm here, you no need of anything to ask them. Whatever anything way we want to do, so far I'm here, it's finished.
The Commissioner of Police in Lagos, Hakeem Odumosu, explains that investigation is underway and those culpable will be apprehended.
Investigation is on. We'll be able to get 1 or 2 other people along that side road now. So that, and it's the instrument that we are just trying to get now in order to do. That is the machete and the knife, the dagger that we use now to kill them.
As the police move to gather more facts on this gruesome murder, residents are pleading with the authorities to adequately monitor activities of miscreants across the state. Staying with security, 1 person has been confirmed missing and 2 others rescued after armed bandits stormed Munjibir local government area of Kano State. The Command Public Relations Officer, DSP Abdullahi Haruno, who confirmed the incident to Channels Television, said the police engaged the gunmen in a battle after they kidnapped the 3 victims. They later abandoned 2 of the victims but went away with a businessman identified as Abdullahi Kalus. The State Police Command says efforts are on to rescue the businessman. In part 2 after the break, fear grips Jigawa residents as state records another COVID-19 fatality, even as confirmed daily case of virus across the country rises to 999. We'll tell you more in a moment. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. After 9 months of intense negotiations, federal government and ASUU reach a truce, ask universities to reopen immediately. More than 30 persons killed today in separate vehicle accidents in Kaduna, Kwara and Kogi states. Jigawa State records another COVID-19 death as confirmed cases of virus rise across the country. And British Health Minister announces detection of new variant of coronavirus in South Africa returnees. A member of the National Youth Service Corps has been killed by gunmen on the Abuja-Kaduna Expressway. In a statement, the NYSC explains that the gunmen attacked 17 Corps members who had completed their orientation program at Ede, Osun State, and boarded vehicles heading towards the northern part of the country. The attackers were said to have stopped them, shooting sporadically and killing one of the Corps members in the process. The NYSC, however, denied reports making the rounds that the other 16 Corps members were abducted. It asked all Corps members to adhere to the safety guidelines issued to them from time to time, which frowns on night travel. Jigawa State has recorded 1 death and 47 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the total number of fatalities and cases to 12 and 386 respectively. This is fast becoming a cause of worry for the state government, and Governor Badaru Abubakar has ordered the reopening of all treatment and isolation centers in the state to accommodate the rising number of cases recently recorded.
Within the last 3 weeks, cases have surged in the state, mostly emanating from the NYSC orientation camp over the last 7 days. 47 new cases of COVID-19 have been recorded. All are receiving treatment and doing well, except one that passed away yesterday, 22nd December 2020. May Allah forgive her, and may her soul rest in perfect peace. Due to this emergent situation, we have no other option than to institute further measures to protect the people of our dear state in conformity with the national COVID-19 control guidelines.
Meanwhile, Ekiti State has also announced renewed restrictions amid enforcement of COVID-19 protocols. With the new pronouncements by Governor Kayode Fayemi, all schools are to remain closed until January 18th, while worship centers are to revert to a single service per week with no vigils allowed. Governor Fayemi also directs civil servants from level 12 and below to stay home until January 18th. The governor says he is worried the results of recent COVID-19 tests carried out in the state call for concern, with 15 positive cases recorded out of about 170 tests conducted in the last 1 week. And here in Lagos, the State Commissioner of Police says his officers will begin the enforcement of the 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. curfew during the Yuletide season. Mr. Hakeem Odumosu explains that officers will be moving around the state to enforce and monitor compliance with guidelines and protocols.
The curfew that was enacted by the federal government from 12 midnight till 4 a.m., the curfew is still on. We arrested some people from the clubs. We need to comply because the Safety Commission team of the Lagos State government is moving around with police security officers. The task force team is having its own. The GMT2 is having its own. And from the command, and equally all the area commanders have their various teams moving around the whole state. So the best thing to avoid any embarrassment, to avoid the long arm of the law catching up, is for us to simply voluntarily obey the law.
Moving on to other stories, the Federal Executive Council has held its last session for the year 2020 as President Muhammadu Buhari chaired the 28th Virtual Federal Executive Council meeting at State House Abuja today. Memos approved by Council include the extension of the contract time for the Zungeru hydropower project for 4.7 billion naira, procurement of chemicals for water treatment in the FCT, and the completion of roads B6, B12, Circular Road, and the Central Business District in the nation's capital. Council also approved a memo from the Ministry of Works and Housing for the repairs and maintenance of 10 roads across Nigeria for 8.2 billion naira.
General maintenance of Ukene-Adogo Ajaokuta-Itobe Road in Kogi State, the construction of Aden Bridge between Okada and Ogbogui-Abangbe Spur to Benin-Shagamu Road, general maintenance repairs of Potiskum-Fika Ngada Gombe Road, a portion there from kilometer 0 to kilometer 25. General maintenance repairs of Benin Asaba Onitsha Dua Carriedway, that's the existing road to the existing Niger Bridge. Then general maintenance repairs of the Warri Benin carriageway, especially from kilometer 0 to kilometer 70 in Delta State. The total sum of these contracts was 8,180,948,137 naira and 50 kobo.
The Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says it will be difficult to beat the People's Democratic Party in Rivers State in an election owing to the performance of Governor Nyesom Wike through visible infrastructure project development. He made the statements during the inauguration of Obaji Street and Woji Road in Port Harcourt on the third day of road commissioning exercise for the Rivers State Governor. Project inauguration has nothing to do with playing to the gallery, as allegedly alluded by his critics. He also accused the ruling party of failing in their responsibility and playing politics with security.
Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State is the state government's latest special guest on the third consecutive day of road commissioning in Port Harcourt by the Wike-led administration. The reconstructed Woji Road and Obaji Street in GRA Phase 2 connects the recently commissioned Tombia Street with adjoining networks. Before officially inaugurating the project, Governor Makinde notes that governance should be more about service to the people, as he commends Governor Wike for his commitment to development.
Development are a big part of our democracy, and every project counts towards the overall progress of the nation. Indeed, all right-minded people like to identify with progress, irrespective of their personal feelings towards the initiator. How much more in this case, when I'm rejoicing with my in-laws, fellow party members, and friends. Again, I want to thank Governor Wike for this honor.
He then proceeds to commission the roads.
I commissioned this Obagi-Woji Road. I do it in the name of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit.
Governor Wike on his part says he will keep delivering on his mandate in spite of opinion from critics.
People know that we are not just talking because we want to talk. We are talking because we have done something. If you have done something, come out and tell people what you have done. So that is what it's all about, to provide the dividends of democracy. I'm happy that every day when I leave this office, I walk on the streets without security to say, look, I have done well for my people. I have not disappointed the people of Rivers State.
For Governor Wike, it's about delivering on the campaign promises to ease mobility in the densely populated city. This brings to 8 the number of roads inaugurated in 3 days.
When the News at 10 returns, Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission form strategic alliance with the NNPC to increase revenue generation. That's on Business News. Join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. Coca-Cola Company, through its foundation-driven program, Catalyst for Change, has trained over 4,500 women in vocational skills in Lagos and Ogun states, with more than 1,000 of them equipped with tools to start their own businesses. The beneficiaries were presented with startup tools at a graduation ceremony to conclude the 5-month project.
By way of concluding 4 weeks of vocational training for 1,000 women of Iwaya community in Yaba, Coca-Cola Foundation and its implementing partner, Carison Elias Hand of Hope Foundation, host 200 of them to a graduation ceremony. The event holds simultaneously in the 5 communities in Lagos and Ogun, where the skill acquisition program took place. It also offers the opportunity for some of the beneficiaries to exhibit items produced during the training. Besides the need to help them recover from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, Catalyst for Change project aligns with the significant role of women in Coca-Cola's business model.
Wherever you get to, there's always a woman who sells a bottle of Coca-Cola. And that also gave us the confidence that we are on the right track and that the ambitious goal we took 10 years ago is on the right track to ensure that more women have economic power so that we can solve most of the world issues that we have in our society today.
The beneficiaries are given startup kits.
This program has been of immense benefits to me and every other participant. Our eyes have been opened to success dynamics in this post-COVID era. Displays to the world.
These women are trained in various skills, including baking, sewing, textile design, soap making, bead and hair making, amongst others.
We have monitoring and evaluation, which has already started. But fully we'll be going back to those communities one by one, starting from Magboro to Sangwetodu to Giju to Urushoki. We're starting by January 8th. We'll start going back to those communities. We're going to see those women that we've actually empowered, making sure they have put to use those tools and equipment we have given them. So at the end of the day, we have like a report and we'll keep following up with the community leaders on the participants' training and everything that's happening in their community.
And after the monitoring and evaluation, with the recommendations that they will have, definitely every year or by next year, 2021, we have a deep commitment to ensure that more communities and more women get impacted under this program.
Coca-Cola Foundation believes that the Catalyst for Change program will help Coca-Cola achieve its 5x20 initiative to economically empower 5 million women globally by the end of 2020.
By the way, we are live.
That takes us into the world of business. Here's Anne Mawodo.
Thanks a lot, Amarachi. Hello and welcome to Business News. Let's begin with the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission saying that it has established a crucial partnership with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the NNPC, to ensure optimal revenue generation from the oil and gas sector to the Federation account. The statement by the Commission stresses that such partnerships is crucial as the revenue from oil has witnessed an all-time low due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on global economies as well as the crude oil market. It also adds that both government entities will strategize and chart a way forward in making NNPC continue to be relevant to the nation's revenue generation drive. The Governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, has signed the state's 2021 budget of 109.6 billion naira into law. He says the budget is a strategic marking in the midterm of his administration and it will help initiate and complete legacy projects. Governor Fayemi states that his administration's preparedness for effective implementation of the budget is hoping that it will strengthen the state to respond to the challenges ahead.
As you are aware,
I recently presented the scorecard of our administration in the first 2 years in office. The 2021 budget that has been accented into law today is to usher us into the second half of the administration. The objective, therefore, is to complete the ongoing projects and commence new ones that are very critical to the economic development of the state.
And the National Pension Commission says it will commence digital pre-retirement verification and enrollment exercise from the first quarter of next year for federal government employees and Treasury-funded ministries, departments and agencies that are due to retire from service between January to December 2021. In a memo, PENCOM explains that the difficulties of the coronavirus outbreak in Nigeria has made it impossible for it to physically conduct the process, stressing that the electronic process will aid for easy authentication of soon-to-be retired civil servants. It also adds that the new process will have the self-assisted or the pension fund administrator-assisted option for prospective retirees to process and validate all relevant documents for retirement purposes. Let's head to the local equities market. It has sustained its bullish run for the 8th consecutive trading day. Investors are still continuing to look at the stocks pocketing 475.69 billion naira at the end of trading today. Let's hear the details from Ekaite Afia.
Thanks for joining us for the Stock Market Report. It looks like Santa stormed the market with the largest Christmas gift to investors today as the all-share index and equity cap soared to new highs. The main index jumped by almost 1,000 points to 38,803.74, while total market cap increased by over 470 billion naira as investors scrambled for shares of Airtel Africa and Bua Cement. Now, looking at the sectoral chart, it is very clear that gains from industrial goods played a major role in today's positive sentiments as Bua Cement jumped 9.09%. Now, on Tuesday, the industrial goods giant notified the NSE that it has signed an agreement to construct 3 new cement plants with a combined capacity of 9 million metric tons per annum in Edo, Sokoto, and Adamawa states. Midweek session witnessed a higher turnover of shares traded as almost 1.5 billion units worth 18.74 billion naira exchanged hands in 4,316 deals. Now, Access Bank was the most traded stock by volume and value with 1.03 billion shares worth 8.39 billion naira. Analysts say the bull run is likely to continue to the end of the year, but investors are advised to take position in fundamentally justified stocks. Well, that's all for the Stock Market Report. I'm Ekaite Afia.
Thank you, Kaite. Well, it's all positive close for markets across the United States, Europe and Asia. But let's see the numbers for today. Those great numbers and Business News Tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Marachi.
Thanks, Anne. Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has flagged off activities marking the Yuletide season with the switching on of the Christmas lights in Awka, the state capital, and in Onitsha, the commercial nerve center of the state. Governor Obiano also received a delegation from the Federal Road Safety Corps, led by the Corps Marshal Mr. Boboye Oyeyemi, to commence the annual decongestion exercise to ensure free flow of traffic during the period, especially at the bridgehead axis.
The visit of the Corps Marshal is the 6th exchange of traffic briefs between the federal government and the Anambra State government, which, according to the FRSC, has continued to yield results.
People would like to come and celebrate Christmas and other festivities with us, so we're going to have high traffic. He would like everybody to maintain discipline on the road, and we're not going to take any nonsense. We are going to pick up people that are really drunk driving and all this stuff.
As the sun sets, the Yuletide season excitement is already in the air. Everywhere is beautifully decorated to mark the commencement of Christmas activities in the state. The Secretary to the State Government, Professor Solomon Chukwulubelu, flags it off on behalf of the Governor.
On behalf of the government of Anambra State, I am saying let there be light. Christmas is again a time for giving. So please let us enjoy this year's Christmas, despite all the challenges that we have.
In Oka, the State Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs switches on the Christmas light at the Professor Kenneth DK Library.
The greatest love we can show our people is to wear the mask. This mask saves a lot of lives. It's a sign of love for yourself, the love you have to show to your family.
He reminds the people of the second wave of the coronavirus infection, appealing to them to observe the preventive protocols.
If you have more than a plate of food in your house, please make sure your neighbor who doesn't have gets something to eat. The year has been very rough. Make sure if you can touch life in any way you can, please.
Celebration begins in earnest as holidaymakers enjoy the beauty and joy of the season. The Christmas celebration has begun. The joy and tempo of merrymaking is high, even as the state government appeals to residents to observe the COVID-19 protocols.
We all need some cheer this season. Still ahead on the news at 10, British Health Minister announces detection of new variant of coronavirus in South Africa returnees. And more from our London studio and around the world in 5. Stay with us. Welcome back. Britain's Health Minister Matt Hancock says the UK has detected a new variant of the coronavirus in contact of cases who have travelled from South Africa. Last week, South Africa's health department informed that a new genetic mutation of the virus had been found and might be responsible for a recent surge in infections there. Mr. Hancock says close contacts of those with the new variant were being quarantined, and all those who had been in South Africa the last fortnight also need to quarantine. Yes, more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. US President Donald Trump has urged Congress to amend a $900 billion coronavirus relief bill to more than triple its stimulus payments to Americans.
Congress started negotiations on a new package to get...
In a video message posted on Twitter, he said the package really is a disgrace full of wasteful items, adding it had almost nothing to do with COVID. The $900 billion package includes one-off payments of $600 to most Americans, but Mr. Trump said the figure should be $2,000.
The yeas are 359.
His statement stunned Capitol Hill, as both Republicans and Democrats have been negotiating a coronavirus stimulus rescue package since July, and Mr. Trump, who has largely stayed out of the talks, had been expected to sign the legislation into law on Monday night. Donald Trump has also issued pardons to 15 people, including 2 figures convicted of lying to the FBI during an inquiry into the US presidential campaign.
Are my lawyers have applied for a pardon?
Ex-campaign aide George Papadopoulos and attorney Alex van der Zwaan are among those who received the presidential clemency. Mr. Trump also pardoned 4 security guards involved in a 2007 massacre in Iraq and 2 ex-congressmen. He is expected to issue more pardons before leaving office next month. Truck drivers have scuffled with police and sounded their horns in protest around the English port of Dover as a partial blockade by France angered thousands stranded before Christmas. France ended its ban on UK arrivals on condition of a negative coronavirus test, but the backlog is expected to take days to clear. Local police said one man was in custody after being arrested for obstructing a highway in Dover, and there had been disturbances at Manston Airport, where the Department for Transport is running a lorry holding facility. A gunman has shot dead 3 police officers who were called to a domestic violence incident in central France. The suspect, a 48-year-old man, was known to local authorities on child custody issues and was later found dead. The gunman killed 1 officer and wounded another, then set fire to the house where he was staying and killed 2 more officers who arrived. French President Emmanuel Macron said the nation shared the grief of the families of the police officers. Israel is to hold its fourth elections in 2 years after the two main parties in its coalition government failed to meet a deadline in a row over state budgets. Voters will return to the polls in March, just 12 months after the last round. Two previous elections were inconclusive, resulting in a rare government of national unity. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, on trial for alleged corruption, is hoping to return to office for a sixth time. He denies the criminal charges against him, dismissing them as politically motivated. Costa Rica has seized over 2.5 tons of cocaine and marijuana that were discovered on 2 boats plying waters off its Pacific coast. According to local authorities, the illegal narcotics were discovered in 2 boats, also carrying drums of fuel, and the operation resulted in the arrest of 6 suspects from Costa Rica, Nicaragua and Colombia. In a statement, the police noted the operation was the first time a Costa Rican Coast Guard vessel was able to capture 2 suspicious boats at once. And finally, Whipsnade Zoo in England might be closed to visitors, but that did not stop its rhinos tucking into a festive feast in true Christmas spirit. The zoo's greater one-horned rhino herd, also known as the Indian rhino, and the largest of the rhino species, ate its vegetables that were presented on a plate of banana leaves. Although Whipsnade Zoo's doors are closed to the public in accordance with UK government guidance during the coronavirus pandemic, zookeepers, vets and essential staff continue to go to work every day, including Christmas Day, to ensure the zoo's animals are well cared for this festive season, as well as making sure they eat a varied diet. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Simon. Let's get the latest in sports news. Here's Olumide Macaulay.
Thank you, Amarachi. Welcome to Sports News. Aimba now have a mountain to climb to overturn a 3-0 deficit they suffered at Al Mariq of Sudan today if they are to reach the group stage of the CAF Champions League. Saif Terry scored a hat-trick to give Al Mariq a comfortable advantage ahead of the return leg in Abia State on January the 6th, 2021. In the CAF Confederation Cup, Rivers United scored twice in the second half to beat South African side Bloemfontein in the first leg. The second one comes up in Port Harcourt in 2 weeks' time. Tottenham Hotspur beat Championship side Stoke City 3-1 to reach the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Goals from Gareth Bale, Ben Davies and Harry Kane ensured Spurs advanced to the last 4. Elsewhere, Edinson Cavani dragged Manchester United to the semi-finals with his goal in the dying moments of the game against Everton at Goodison Park. Edinson Cavani and Anthony Martial were on the score sheet in the keenly contested encounter. England international Kieran Trippier has been banned for 10 weeks and fined $94,000 for breaching betting rules. The 30-year-old Atletico Madrid defender's worldwide ban from all football and football-related activity will run until February 28th. The English Football Association says his ban takes immediate effect. It'll rule Trippier out of the last 14 matches for Spanish La Liga leaders Atletico Madrid, including the first leg of their UEFA Champions League last 16 clash with Chelsea on February the 23rd. Argentine public prosecutor has confirmed that football legend Diego Maradona was suffering from liver, kidney, and cardiovascular disorders, but there was no signs of alcohol or narcotics consumption in his. Tokyo Olympics officials have announced a new creative team that will be responsible for redesigning the opening and closing ceremonies at next year's games, which will be pared back due to the COVID safeguards. The new creative team will be headed by Hiroshi Sasaki, who was one of the 7 directors previously responsible for the opening and closing events. The games, originally scheduled to start this summer, were postponed by a year due to the pandemic, which has severely disrupted the international sports calendar. Sasaki says he pictured the ceremonies as an opportunity to show the world a message of breakthrough or hope during the pandemic. That's it on Sports News. I'm Archie, back to you.
Thanks, Olumide. And the main news again. After 9 months of intense negotiations, the federal government and leaders of the academic staff union of universities today reached a truce. They have asked universities to reopen immediately. Also today, more than 30 persons were killed in separate vehicle accidents in Kaduna, Kwara and Kogi states. And the British Health Minister Matt Hancock today announced that a new variant of COVID-19 was detected in some South Africa returnees. That is the news at 10 tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Good night and stay safe.